It's often referred to as the Forgotten War, sandwiched between World War II and Vietnam. Today marks 70 years since military leaders signed the armistice, which formally ended the Korean War. Way 31 honors and remembers the sacrifices of those who didn't come home, and we thank those who are still here, like Paul Gulick. Marie Waxel shares his story.
I drew up all the plans for this house here.
Retired Marine Paul Gulick is as tough as they come.
I wanted to get in combat. I wanted to get into war.
So much, he changed his birth certificate and almost got away with it.
I got all signed up and all that and on the bus ready to go, and before we left, the recruiter came back and says, "Come here." Mom had squealed on him and told him that I wasn't 18.
Gulick was just 16. At 17, he shipped off to boot camp at Parris Island.
They straightened me out. They did. I always managed to get my good conduct medals. So I never got into too much trouble for that, but I got in my share of trouble, and even in the service.
Gulick was in the infantry and finally got into the fight in the summer of 1953.
I didn't get into combat that much. I just got there for the last part. So the one big battle I was in was what they called Boulder City.
70 years ago, he remembers getting the orders to cease fire later that night.
At 10 o'clock at night, it was just very silent. The only thing that they fired was they fired some star clusters out of the mortars. And I guess that was just to celebrate or whatever.
After Korea, he decided to stay in the Marine Corps. Much of his later work focused on electronics as he spent his time working with and training others on the Hawk missile system.
It's really advanced now. When I got out, I worked for Boeing on a space lab, but then I worked for a couple other companies on with radar and electronics and that.
Gulick served 24 years. He retired as an E9, a master gunnery sergeant. His memory's still sharp.
I completely blank on some things, but I can remember some things as if they were happening yesterday. Go around here with the
Gulick traveled to D.C. with the group Legacy for Korean War Veterans last summer for the reopening of the Korean War Memorial.
We lost one guy in that last big battle. We lost one guy that was MIA and missing. Never did find him, and still haven't found him. And his name showed up on there, and that meant a lot to me.
A life well lived with more ahead, always faithful to his training. Marie Waxel, Way 31 News.
And it's important to know, not only did Paul Gulick fight in Korea, he also served 2 tours in Vietnam.